The classified birthday party will be taking place in the other room. So two quick stories about my dad and the Gill family, and then I'm going to turn it over to my brother Connor to do a little bit of what we know Dad is all famous for, the roast. So this is a lot of pressure. How do you roast Mr. Gill? But I will tell you two quick stories that we joke about. We joke about the Gill family and the Gill family being late, and that's okay because we're always on time, Dad. Always on time. And we used to take summer trips with our family that's here to the Jersey Shore, and we would go to Long Beach Island. Now we live in Montclair, New Jersey, which is about an hour and 35 minutes from Long Beach Island. But the Gill family process to plan for this hour and 35-minute trip from Montclair to Long Beach Island was unbelievable. Newspapers had to be canceled. Lawns had to be mowed. Preparations had to be made. So I am 21 years old, a fresh graduate of Seton Hall University, working on a political campaign. The headquarters is in Clifton, which is close to Montclair, New Jersey. I show up for work at 9 a.m. They say, you need to be at a meeting in Long Beach Island at 11:30. I say, it can't be done. It's impossible. You cannot get from North Jersey to Long Beach Island in 2.5 hours without preparation. True story, leave, do the meeting, back in Montclair at 3. Call, see Dad the next couple of days, say, Dad, I was in Long Beach Island a couple of days ago. Says, how'd you do that in one day? Another true story about Mr. Gill. We know he's a man who loves technology, ahead of his time. And tube socks are back in style. That's how good you are. The man who had a printed t-shirt with a turtle.
Oh, yes.
That probably some hipster in Brooklyn would pay $3,000 for right now.
That's true.
But there's a very funny story that I just remember, that one day we happened to be at home, and this is in the days before cell phones, when call waiting was a big deal. Had to have call waiting. So Dad gets a call from a salesman from the phone company. They say, Mr. Gill, do you have call waiting? We were probably the last family in the United States of America who had not signed up for call waiting. They go, Mr. Gill, we got a brand new program. If you have call waiting, we're going to offer something that you can turn on that's called call blocking. So this way, if someone calls, they won't know you're on the other line. Dad's response, I have that. It's called a busy signal. Final story. Final story, which I do think sums up a lot about what my dad is about and what he has accomplished. One day, as many of you know in this room, my dad is a longtime educator, both participating in the Upward Bound program at Seton Hall University, and 40 plus years in the Montclair Public Schools. One day, not too long ago, my dad likes to grab a cup of coffee across the street from a Shell station that has a coffee place next to the school. He, in the middle of the day, walks across the street. I actually happen to be grabbing a cup of coffee at the same time. Walks across the street, and there's an individual, it's like a Wednesday morning, there's an individual sitting in front of the Shell station with clearly not much to do or not too much going on. And he says, "Mr. Gill, Mr. Gill, do you remember me?" Dad says, "Oh yeah, good, great, trying to place him, great to see you." And he says, "Mr. Gill, I want you to know something. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today." So we look at one another. True story. True story. We look at one another, not sure what to say, and Dad says, "Well, that's great. I'm happy for you. How are you doing?" A very basic, "How are you doing?" And he said, "I'm doing well, Mr. Gill. I'm doing well." And I tell that story to say that you don't know when you're going to make that difference in someone's life. And you don't know what that difference necessarily may be. And clearly, although by our standards, maybe you didn't make that difference, but Dad, you did. You did. And we're proud of you. We're proud of you for that. So we'd like to ask everyone to raise their glass and toast Mr. Gill in the best way possible to try to make that difference for your own family and for you. And Dad, we love you.
Thank you.
So happy birthday. Cheers.
You're back in the well.
6 Rydell. It's coming my way. But I keep working hard one day.
Brendan, I'm his asset manager. He's well diversified in debt. You have nothing to worry about.
Chris Murphy's your asset manager.
Take the ET off and it'll be fine.
Right. Your debts are doing great, Dan. Don't worry. Relax.
They're growing.
I also just think we should give a round of applause to my mom who put this entire thing together. So there are two famous Gills in Montclair. I'm in public life, but I'm not one of them. And but Mom, thank you for everything you did to do this. We love you, and this was a great event. So thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to turn the program over to my younger brother. Kills me every time. This is if you happen to be at the wedding, he reminded Alex and I's wedding. Connor took that time to remind how long that he and I shared bunk beds together. Thanks again, Dad. They were the best. Those are some serious bunk beds. I mean, those things. I still don't know how they got those up the stairs. You gotta understand, people, this was pre-IKEA. And the Gills can't put anything together. So we slept in a living room for 3 years. But once they were beautiful, once they were done. The problem was I was 29. But for those of you who knew Connor when he was younger, he now does open heart surgery. Or at least that's what he tells me. That's what he says. I don't know. We've yet to actually. That might be fake news too, Dad. I never thought of it that way. Apparently, he works at a hospital. I have to tell you, that graduation party was the best. Still got stories from that. But we want to turn the microphone over to my younger brother. Also, just really quickly, we're going to hear from her shortly. We also want to acknowledge our sister Kira for everything she did to put this together. But with that, Connor Gill.